guys, welcome to the studio and welcome to Creep on June 2025. Wow, it's been a while. Yeah, it feels like weeks since I last did a video, but it's not. I did do a video, oh my goodness, about 5 days ago I think it were, on how I put this together. I mean, it wasn't particularly rocket science, but this is just to keep the ephemera pieces in and these small versions of the dailies. I put them in colour order in here rather than day order, and then the other pieces of ephemera and things, little bits of scraps and stuff, just so that it is really easy to just pick this up and quickly flip through to find something that I may want to use for the project. However, I never got around to actually posting that video, so I will tag it on the end of this one. This might be a long video, but I will tag it on the end of this one. As you can see, I haven't actually got any further with the journal pages, but I have caught up a little bit with some of the daily makes. Like I said, only a little bit. My last update on this, I'd only done 3 days. So I did the envelope for day 1. Then I did this tag and little booklet for day 2, which was about a woman that turned into a witch, like maybe Paul's girlfriend or somebody that he knew. Yeah, like that's what she used to be like. This is what she's like now. This is all his like writing. That was potentially a bit of music script from their favourite song, that sort of thing. And then I just made an extra tag with that one. Then day 3 I made the envelope, just the simple envelope, just sewed around it, put the little day's poem quote thing in there. However, since then I have changed the front of this because I did a boo-boo and cut it way too close to the edge on these bits here for the acetate to go in. But I wasn't, the more I looked at it, the more I did not like the front part of it, so I just a couple of days ago covered it over and stamped over it again. Right, so that's where we were at last update video. Since then I have done 6 makes. Is it 6? 1, 2, no, 4 makes, sorry. I have done 4 makes, which makes 7 days altogether. So this one, I really enjoyed doing this one. It is still my favourite of all of the ones I've done so far, but it still scares the bejeebus out of me. Yeah, so this was day 5 page, and it was absolutely beautiful page. And I just figured all the red and everything on it, it just called to be a werewolf page. And I just spritzed that with water on the actual tag. I just backed it with paper, spritzed it to get some little blobby things. Then with the other tag that I didn't use, I made that little window, well, pocket there, put a window in it, not a window, well yeah I did, I put a window in it. I was going to turn it into a pocket, but then I turned it into a belly band instead. And then I cut out one of the werewolf images from one of the spare journal pages that I have. Yeah, and then just this page already had some red blobs in the background. I just emphasised them with a red Posca pen, and I think I maybe added a few more, like little drips and that sort of thing, and then it was just screaming at me to do his eyes red, and I thought, well, if I'm going to do his eyes red, he needs blood in his mouth and then some scratches, and it just kept evolving all the way through me making it. And yeah, in the end it turned out quite gruesome, but I freaking love it. And then on the back I took this from one of the pages as well with regards to the werewolves, that says the transformation is agony, no magic but violence, bones shatter and reform, he weeps as a man and howls as a beast, I pity him. So yeah, and I just put that in there because I can hide his eyes. But yeah, so that was my day 4 make, and I've had nightmares ever since making it. This is day 5. I wasn't quite sure where I was going with this, but this one, the day, obviously this was the tag. It was a 3 tag for the day. I turned it into a trifold, a Z-fold, however you want to say it. And it just says, the spirits of the dead who stood in life before thee are again in death around thee, and there will shall overshadow thee, be still. Oh, honestly, I cannot read these things. What is it? Why is it so difficult to read? Right, and there will shall over, and there will, right, not they will, there will shall overshadow thee, be still. Honestly. Yeah, so I've found one of the very few, well, I'll say very few, I only had 3 including this one, Tim Holt's Creepy People, as I call them. They are the people, dolls. What are they? Summit dolls. Anyhow, I just figured that maybe Poe at the graveyard, you know, visiting his missus. I just turned that into a pocket. That's just a placeholder really to show that there's a pocket there. Yeah, so I just put some red around it. And then I found this in a stash that I got from the same person that sent me this. That just says, remember, it's a definition. To keep in mind as worthy of consideration or recognition memories of days gone by, which just seemed appropriate with it being a graveyard. And then I just put a little fold out there so you can write, and then these are little pockets, one there and one there. It's not a full pocket because I did a boo-boo. Under here, if you can maybe see, under there is a bit of lace, because my idea were originally, which way were I going to do it? That way. Originally it was going to go that way and tie around. Oh, no, sorry, no. Originally the lace was just going to hold this down, honestly, but it made it way too bulky, so I just cut it off, and you know, it's just free floating, but the book itself kind of keeps it together. Yeah, so where the lace got glued across there, it created 2 open pockets, so the way I glued it in, it did anyway. And then on the inside there's just some like script, so I put it in as maybe like 4 letters, maybe a love letter from his wife in there. But yeah, so that's day 5. Day 6 was just simple. I used the whole pages. There was 2 pages and I just used the whole pages. So you had this, and then there was the pocket, and then there was 2 tags. These were the same size, but I cut them down. As you can see, I've just sewn around it, inked it, added the pocket on, and I just turned it into a little notes journal. Bit of vellum there, and then plain paper there, notes there, and I was going to use my click stamps again and put thoughts at the back of there, but I forgot to do it, but I will do. Yeah, and I'm actually pretty proud of my sewing at the moment because I'm getting used to this. I was really proud of this because I did the pocket first and then glued it on and thought, oh my goodness, how am I going to get that straight around the pocket? But I managed, and I'm so proud of myself. And then the tags are just backed with some creamy cardstock. Nothing fancy on them yet. They may stay like that, or I may decorate them later on. I just got to the point that day where I thought, right, I just need to get them made. I'm not overly bothered about embellishing them today. I just need to get them made. yeah, so that was that one. And then yesterday, so that's day 6. Yesterday I did this one, so it was a little bit more of an in-depth make. I used some crackle paste, some translucent crackle paste through a stencil here, and it really bugs me because I can never get it to crackle properly. And then I went over it with some Inca Gold. I just sprayed, mine's really old, well, saying, well, yeah, it probably is really old and it's really dry, so I just sprayed it with water and it turned more, well, it is a metallic paint. I've said in previous videos that it's gilding wax, and I hadn't realised it says on the blooming tin as on the tub as well, but it's not. It's a wax metal, it's metallic paint. But yeah, I've always seen it as gilding wax, but anywho, so yeah, it just got left as it is, and then I just glued them on. Used some words here that says replace fear of the unknown with curiosity. I spritzed this image is from the kit, and I spritzed it with water and then inked it just to knock it really back. That's a in fact it is a page from this pad that I've had for ages. Well, I had it since Christmas. My friend Michelle sent it me in an advent swap. Yeah, and then I used the little Grim Reaper and I went round the back of him, not the back, the edges of him with the wax with the Inca Gold. Just a little bit of book page there and remnants of a ticket, and then a Tim Holtz word that says live gently upon this earth, and there we go. So this one's about the Grim Reaper and death, and then the tag I just double-sided it and, you know, glued it, cut it out, folded it, put some paper in the middle to make it sturdier, glued it together. On the back I just put some same paper, oh, yeah, sorry, the paper that was on here. I just put that on the back. I just inked it, pardon me, a little bit. But on the front, we have another Grim Reaper here. And then we have like a skeleton with its friends or whatever. And then I used, again, some texture paste. Actually, I used the Distress Grave paste. Texture paste to do the wall through a stencil. And then I just inked it with loads of different, I didn't spray, I used actual inks and an ink dauber and just went over it to make it grungy. And then the same stamp that I used on one of the other makes, I just went over that to make it sort of like writing on the wall, as though it relates to those images. And I actually really like this one. I really like all of them, but I like the way this one specifically turned out. Yeah, so it was just a coin envelope, was that one, and the 2 tags. So that was nice and simple, and that was day 7. And I am, like I said, I'm not up to date, but I'm kind of halfway there. Today is Saturday the 15th, so I am still fairly behind, but I feel happy that I'm like only halfway behind now and not days and days behind. Yes, so I am kind of really thrilled that I'm catching up, guys. I'm catching up. So yeah, I love that one so much, but it creeps me out, somewhat rotten. It really does. Alright, let's put this one there. Oh, sorry guys, I'm just trying to get a picture for the thumbnail actually. That one there and that one there. Okay, so refocus, picture. Okay, and there we are, guys. So yeah, so like I said, I am like just under halfway through, so I feel a lot happier. I'm not going to rush myself to get the daily makes done, but I am now going to kind of try and push ahead and get the journal done. There we go, a couple more photos in a different angle, see which is best. Yeah, so anyway, that is where I am up to now, and then like I said, at the end of this video I will pop on the video where I did this. It's, like I said, it's absolutely nothing special. It's just an old photo album that I picked up from a charity shop and, you know, just stuck the images in. But as I said, stay tuned or not, it's up to you, because at the end of this video, when I say goodbye on here, the other one will kick in. Alright guys, so take care, stay safe, thank you so much for watching. Oh, sorry, before I go, please check out all the links below, and the calendar for the daily collaborators. Yeah, it's just been awesome, so awesome. So anyway, take care, stay safe, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video. Stay tuned. Bye guys. Hi guys, welcome to the studio. Welcome back to Creep on June 2025, a collaboration hosted by the fabulous Tracie Fox at Tracie Fox Creative. And yes, it is a month-long collaboration between Tracie and her collaborative team, creative design team, and other collaborators as well joining in, like myself. My day is the 28th, so we've got quite a while to go because today we're on day 10. But I have been working on the project in the background and uploading videos as and when. Yeah, so today, sorry, that's Minxy, my cat, the oldest cat that we have in the background. Yeah, today it's Tuesday and I'm on a bit of a go slow because I've just, you know, thrown myself into the journal pages and everything else during the weekend and whatnot. I didn't really get a break, and yeah, so I had the journal pages that I was working on yesterday, I love these, under some heavy books last night, so they are nice and flattened. I don't mind the bulk, but until we've actually got the journal bound, I would like it to stay as flat as possible. Okay, so today I have, well, over the last few days, I have been cutting out the little pieces of ephemera in the kit and whatnot. And then I also printed out the daily bases in small scale. I have them in normal scale, like so. This is the normal print. Yeah, I'm still way behind, guys. I need to catch up. Yeah, but I still have them in normal print for each day. Size, should I say. But then I printed them 2 to a page, I think. It may have even been 4 to a page. I think it was 2 to a page. And whilst on FaceTime to my daughter this morning, I'd cut all those out. I found this photo album that I don't use in one of my drawers upstairs, so I have cut all these down this morning, all around the edges and everything, and put them in here. These are, like I said, the daily bases. I haven't put them in this book in order. I've lumped them in colour groups, so, you know, sometimes when I'm looking for something, it's not necessarily have to use the same bases or tags for that day. You can add others to them to layer up, and that's, excuse me, why I printed these a little bit smaller. These ones folded up like that are envelopes. I had to fold them to get them in here. Excuse me. So, yeah, some of them I didn't need to. But yeah, so as I said, I've lumped them into kind of colour orders or colour categories. Not perfect, but it doesn't matter. They're all in one place. They are so easy to find. These are all the little tiny poems and what have you that come with some of the daily bases. They're not with every single base, but there are quite a lot of them. So them are in there from these tiny ones. And then, as I said, whilst on the phone to my daughter, well, I cut the bases out, but I've been doing these over the last few days as well. And I have some photo paper here. It is glossy, there is a shine to it, but it's for laser printer. I don't have a laser printer, I have an inkjet printer, so of course my printer won't print on the glossy side. However, I have cut them down, they're big A3 sheets, I've cut them down to 4x6, so they will go in here. What I also do is with them, I cut them down to A4, so I basically just cut them in half, because on the reverse side of them, it is just normal paper, so I tend to sometimes print on the reverse because it will take. It's just normal paper on the reverse, it's not glossy or anything, so my printer does take to that. And then this glossy shiny page here, this little shiny side here, I usually then make a tuck out of it or a pocket, because the shiny bit, things slide in and out of it so smoothly. Yeah, but as I said, I have just cut some of them down, and what I intend on doing is, as I'm going to use this just for a quick, not reference, but kind of quick and easy to find things, I'm going to somehow put these together on here, maybe like so, or spread them out a little bit more. Just a little dot of glue on the back, and then I'm going to put them in so that it's almost like a photo album. So then when I want to work on the tag bases or the daily bases, and I want to use a piece of ephemera, I can just come and flick through and think, I want that one. Slide the piece out, take it off, use it. Jobs are good. Put it back in. Jobs are good. Okay, but they're all in the same place then. I did try just putting them loose in here, but then as you flick the pages, they move around and they hide under each other, so that's a bit of a pain. But I just figured that would be something to do. Now these, or something practical, these I have, as I said, cut out, and then I have laid them all out randomly and put them into some form of random, some form of order. So all of those are relating to Frankenstein, or Frankenstein's monster, that is Dr. Frankenstein. This one is the Bride of Frankenstein. So, well, them two definitely are. That one I think is, I'm not sure about that one, but I really like that picture and it ties in with that, so I'm going to call that the Bride. Okay, then we have a rogue werewolf there. Alright, now we've got a rogue skeleton. Okay, then we have werewolf ones. So anything to do with the werewolves, I have, again, just bundled them together. So they can all go, not in order, I'm not bothered about an order, but together. And then we've got the Grim Reaper there. Then we've got Dracula. Dracula in disguise with his bride. There we have Dracula. Then we have the Bride of Dracula. There. And then, well, I think it's the Bride of Dracula anyway. I'm not quite sure, to be honest, but I can't see any like bits on her face. So then we're on to like the pumpkin skeleton one. They're like that. The mummies. And then the ghoulish ones. This one is giving me sorry about that. Yeah, this one here is giving me like Gollum vibes from Lord of the Rings. My precious. Yep, and then skeletons. More skeleton pumpkin things. And then we've got a ghost. Then we're on to the witches. Yeah, so again, I've just grouped them into like a little bit of an order so they're easier to find. So if I'm doing something, I think, oh, I want something, a witchy picture, then I can just flick through and all the witchy pictures are together, sort of thing. I don't know, that's just my logic anyway. So yeah, that's the route I'm going down. So what's that one? That's Dracula and his bride. I'll put them to the back. Frankenstein and his bride I'll put to the front. Do the bride second, I want Frankenstein first. Okay, so this could be the bride of Frankenstein, or it could be the Frankenstein's monster bride. So that's who she were before, and then that's who she is after, and then she's very miserable. I love this picture. It's the same picture, but, you know, alternate ways. But I love that. So, as I said, we're just going to kind of stick just a little glue dot on the back. So, just a little dab of glue here on the back, and just pop it on. So, when it dries, you know, it's not going to be stuck all the way down. We can just peel it off and use it. So we'll see how we can do this. I'm not bothered about how many I can get on one sheet. I'm just going to get as many as I can on. Obviously leave a decent space between them to be able to get hold of them to tear them, but pull them off. I'm just using Anita's tacky glue at the moment in this little gluey gun thing. Can I get another one on there? A little skinny one. Nope. No, that's the werewolves. Okay, no problem. So that will then be our first page, like so. So easy to find now. And then we get another sheet and we glue these on. Maybe put them a little bit closer together so I can get more on one sheet, but I'm not bothered if I can't. As I said, it's only temporary. There we go. Let me get that one down there, yep. And then we should be able to, yep, get that one there. Even if we have to slightly overlap them a little bit like that, it's not the end of the world, because they're not staying in there permanently. So, and then that will go in there. I have loads of these little photo albums floating around. Every time I see any in a charity shop or whatever, I buy them and then I just throw them in a box. Because they do come in handy for doing this with and keeping ephemera pieces in them. And like even after, like long after this project's finished, if I've got any ephemera left, then I can just label it there and just leave it in here and then flick back to it whenever I want to. Yeah, using other projects. It almost looks like a photo album, doesn't it? Pretty cool. Yeah, so that is my way of thinking anyway. So I'm going to glue Frankenstein's bride on here. I apologise if you can hear shouting in the background. You potentially won't be able to unless... Oh, I really do apologise if you did hear that. I'm going to say you may not be able to unless you're wearing headphones or something, but I apologise if you did hear that. That is my beloved Taylor, who pops on every now and then. He's playing a game upstairs and I need to go and tell him to keep his noise down and curb his language. I mean, it seems strange hearing him swearing, but he's 21 next month. It's just crazy, you know. But yeah, so he gets away with it to a degree, but only to a degree, and is a little bit loud today. So anyway, I'm gonna just go off and do this, and then when I've done, I'll come back and I'll show you how it looks in the little album. Alright guys, I have finished filling the album, and I'll just give you a quick flip through now. I put the blank pages in the back just to give it some stability. But yeah, so we now are more organised. So we've got Frankenstein ephemera pieces and the Frankenstein's monster. Yeah, better do it that way, Anna. And then we've got the Bride of Frankenstein, or the Monster's Bride, werewolves, the skeletons, and pumpkins. And then we've got more skeletons, and ghoulish, Grim Reaper, witches, more witches. Then we've got Dracula and his bride. This is like the more sexier version of Dracula, where he seduces his bride and turns her. Then we have, that's all like the picture images. Then we have the extra little ephemera images. So we've got the crows. And then we've got like the churches and graveyard type things, little village. Then we've got the library. Then we've just got some little images by the sea overlooking the ocean. These are images in the forest type images. One of him there, well, one of someone there looking through a window at the forest. Some I have overlapped, obviously, because I wanted to try and keep them all together on the pages where they fit the best. Can't get it out now. But again, I've only glued the backing paper, not the whole image, so they're easy to just pull off. And then we have a few little pieces of ephemera left over from the playing card side of the kit, which I'm not sure, I may need to print again, or are they in with these images? Frankenstein. Alright, they are in with these images. Okay, so I don't need to print them again. But these are the larger scale ones left over from the playing cards. So, Victor Frankenstein. And then, as I showed you before, we have the tag and daily bases. Then we have the smaller little poems, and then all these blank pages here that may get filled with other pieces, some bits and pieces of ephemera. But now that can just sit on my desk in front of me or wherever, and when I need ephemera I can just reach for it and think, right, well, I want to use a green tag or something green in today's tag base, so then I can just flick through and think, oh, envelope, yes, we'll use an envelope or a tuck spot. And I want I'm going to say dragon. I want a werewolf on it. So then we can just very quickly flick through to the werewolves, and, you know, there we go, we'll use him. So pull the sheet out, pull him off, sheet back in, job's a good one. But yeah, so there we go, guys. Not overly exciting video today, but it's a video nonetheless. yeah, I would put these bits of ephemera in as well, but they're too big. If I'd have printed them a bit smaller, maybe 2 to a page, then I would have done the same and put those in there. Oh, I've just thought of something that I could put in there. These, which are the small backgrounds. Now, what's in this one? Oh, see, and this is bits of ephemera that I haven't finished cutting out yet, so they could even go in there in a similar way to these. But these are the tiny little background, well, they're only tiny because I printed them tiny, but these are the backgrounds from the ephemera side of things, so I could even put them in. But, you know, at the moment they're just paper clipped together there. So yeah, there's all sorts that you could put in. But yeah, I'm gonna, oh my goodness, I'm sorry guys. I'm gonna leave it at that. And I am going to now get up some videos on my YouTube, on my phone while I'm sat at the desk. And I'm going to have a look at day 4 and see what the maker made for that. I think day 4 was Corey creating with scraps. I think that's her day. But yeah, and then I'm not sure about the rest, and we are now up to page, well, we're now up to day 10, so I've got a lot of catching up to do. I know there's a lot of pages here, but some of them have more than one on the page. Oh, a purple one, pretty. Yeah, some of these have a part 2 to them, like this green one. There's a day 6 and then a day 6B. Yeah, so I am going to love you and leave you guys. I hope this kind of inspires you to maybe, if you have these kind of albums or something like that lying around that you're not using, then, you know, you could do this sort of thing, and then it's just so easy to find everything all in the one place. You're not having to run here, there and everywhere, or like me, have loads of pockets and makeshift envelopes and things lying around with all sorts in. But yeah, so anyway guys, take care, stay safe, thank you so much for watching, excuse me so much, and I will see you again very soon. Bye.